has left a scar on this community. Time heals all wounds.
Hey guys, my name is Mike, and today we are going to take a look at another horrible case with you. Today, our focus shifts to a noteworthy incident that occurred in 2011 with a girl named Summer Inman, who lives in Logan, Ohio. During investigation at the crime scene, a diary was to be found which belonged to her. In it, she wrote about her innermost thoughts and feelings, meticulously concealed from the prying eyes of her husband and his parents. Within the confines of this diary lay the sanctuary where she could unabashedly pour out her soul without the looming fear of judgment or reprisal. It served as her refuge, a place where her voice remained unfiltered and her emotions unencumbered by the constraints of societal expectations. In her diary, she wrote,
"I'm exhausted. I can't comprehend how much longer this can continue, or what exactly I'm waiting for. I truly loved him, with all my heart. Yes, I was just a young girl when we married, standing before the altar, defying his parents, pledging before God to love him forever, until only death parted us. Why can't I retract those vows? Do I have to endure this torment every single day because of promises made? The truth is, I haven't loved him for a long while, just as he doesn't love me. He only cares for himself, his parents, and our children. But who will love me? In these moments of despair, I feel abandoned even by God. How else could he have destined me for this family, where I am nothing but remembered when they need something? Summer, clean this up. Summer, take out the trash. Summer, stop stomping your feet so loudly. I'm fed up. I have to confide in Will about everything. I should take the kids and leave this house, but who will let me go? Especially with the kids. Will's father won't even allow me to step out of the house. I just hope I can stay alive, at least for now."
In these pages, she found solace, unbridled freedom to articulate her deepest desires, fears, and aspirations, shielded from the scrutiny of those who may not understand or accept her true self. In the quaint town of Logan, Ohio, nestled amidst the heartland of America, with its population barely tipping 40,000 souls, a new beacon of faith emerged in the form of the Tabernacle of Faith Evangelical Church. Its arrival was met with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism, as none among the town's residents had ever heard its name uttered before. The visionary behind this newfound sanctuary was none other than David Oyedepo, who traversed continents from Nigeria to bring his divine message to the quiet streets of Logan. With fervor in his voice and conviction in his heart, he shared with the congregation a remarkable encounter, an 18-hour communion with the Almighty himself, during which God imparted upon him a divine mandate to liberate humanity from the clutches of evil through the power of preaching and prayer. The townsfolk listened intently, some with skepticism, others with a glimmer of hope stirring within them. As the weeks passed, the Tabernacle of Faith Evangelical Church became a focal point of the community, drawing in both believers and skeptics alike. David Oyedepo's sermons resonated with many, offering a message of redemption and salvation in a world filled with uncertainty and despair. Despite initial reservations, the townspeople found themselves drawn to the warmth and sincerity of his words, finding solace in the promise of a higher purpose and divine guidance. Slowly but surely, the Tabernacle of Faith Evangelical Church began to weave itself into the fabric of Logan, its presence a testament to the enduring power of faith and the transformative impact of a single individual's unwavering belief in the divine. And as the sun set over the quiet streets of the town, the light of hope continued to shine brightly from within the walls of the sanctuary, illuminating the path towards a brighter tomorrow for all who dared to believe. David Oyedepo's magnetic charisma swept through the corridors of faith, propelling the Tabernacle of Faith Church to the zenith of popularity in Logan. It was within these hallowed halls that the paths of Bill and Sandra Inman first intersected. Bill, a talented musician at the tender age of 18, lent his skills to the church's Sunday services, while Sandra dutifully attended alongside her parents. Sandra fondly reminisces how her parents took a liking to the young musician, readily granting their blessing when Bill and Sandra decided to tie the knot a year later. Their union bore fruit in the form of a son, Will, who, in adherence to familial traditions, was cradled in the arms of faith from his infancy. At 17, Will, following in his father's footsteps, found himself enamored with the Tabernacle of Faith, where he crossed paths with the youthful Summer Cook, a mere 15 years of age. Though the allure of marriage hung tantalizingly in the air, the young couple exercised patience, waiting until Summer reached the age of 18. In the year 2004, following their nuptials, Will's parents insisted that the newlyweds reside under their roof. Summer harbored reservations about this arrangement, but her husband's deference to his father left her little choice. Reluctantly, she bid farewell to her childhood home, embracing a new chapter within the walls of the Inman household. Little did they know, this pivotal decision marked yet another juncture in the unfolding saga of the Inman family's journey. Bill embarked on a transformative journey, carving his own path within the realm of faith. With unwavering determination, he transformed the family's erstwhile workshop into a sanctified space, boldly proclaiming it as his own church. From the private pages of Summer Inman's diary, a portrait of change emerges, a metamorphosis in Will's father that renders him almost unrecognizable. At a recent family dinner, he divulged a startling revelation. The divine whispers he purportedly hears in his dreams, a calling he feels compelled to share with the world for their spiritual edification. Yet, amidst the fervor, Will's apprehension looms palpably, a silent acknowledgement of his father's descent into religious fervor. Though he may silently express dissent through subtle gestures, his voice remains stifled by the weight of familial deference. To skeptics like Summer, Bill Inman's venture may appear fanciful, bordering on the edge of delusion. However, the local populace gravitated to his garage-turned-sanctuary in droves, drawn by the magnetism of his sermons, fervently praying, attentively absorbing his teachings, and even contributing donations to support his burgeoning congregation. Despite her reservations, Summer couldn't deny the genuine sense of community that blossomed within the walls of Bill's makeshift church. People from all walks of life found solace and inspiration in his words, their faith rekindled by his impassioned sermons. As the weeks turned into months, Bill's influence continued to grow, his once humble congregation swelling in size as word of his teaching spread throughout the town and beyond. Though Summer remained cautious, unable to fully reconcile her skepticism with the undeniable impact Bill was having on those around him, she couldn't help but admire the conviction with which he pursued his newfound calling. And as she watched from the sidelines, grappling with her own doubts and uncertainties, she couldn't shake the feeling that perhaps there was more to Bill's venture than met the eye, that amidst the fervor and fanaticism, there lay a kernel of truth waiting to be discovered. In the year 2005, Will and Summer welcomed their firstborn son, Alex, into the world. However, the joy of their new arrival was swiftly overshadowed by the stark realization of their dire financial straits. With the women of the household prohibited from seeking employment outside the home, their sole recourse was to tend to domestic duties, leaving a family of 4 adults and 1 infant, reliant solely on sporadic donations from congregants and Will's infrequent part-time jobs. Faced with mounting pressures, a family council convened, and Bill proposed a drastic solution: a relocation to Florida. In the Sunshine State, Will and Bill found employment in construction, while Sandra and Summer remained at home, nurturing baby Alex. Yet, from the private pages of Summer's diary, it becomes evident that the move failed to yield significant change. Days blurred into nights, with Will and his father vanishing into the world of labor, while Sandra and Summer remained tethered to the confines of home, consumed by the relentless demands of childcare. As the weight of responsibility began to bear down heavily, Summer found herself questioning when Will would take the reins of adulthood, a sentiment tinged with impatience and longing for autonomy. With Florida failing to offer the financial respite they sought, Bill Inman made the decision to return to his native state. However, the specter of unpaid taxes cast a shadow over their departure, resulting in the loss of their Logan residence and a court order barring its redemption. Thus, they sought refuge in a rented abode in the rural outskirts of Vinton, a stone's throw away from their former hometown. During their time in Vinton, Summer brought 2 more bundles of joy into the world, daughters named Kelly and Alana. Yet despite the expanding family, financial woes continued to cast a shadow over their lives. Will's aspirations for a large family clashed with the stark reality of their circumstances. Their vision was to construct a haven for orphans, widows, and the homeless under the auspices of the church. However, the stark truth remained that funds were scarce. Undeterred, Bill devised a novel solution, an elaborate lottery scheme. With fervor and determination, he spearheaded a campaign utilizing television and radio advertisements. Bill's efforts culminated in a staggering $1 million being raised. The grand prize drawing was slated for September 2010. Yet, as fate would have it, Bill Inman callously deceived those who placed their trust in him, with no intention of ever reimbursing their losses. Meanwhile, during this tumultuous time, Will's father enlisted Adam Peters to manage the landscaping duties on their property alongside other household tasks. Adam, amidst his constant exposure to Summer, begins to empathize with her, oblivious to the underlying crisis brewing between her and Will. Undeterred, he continues to offer Summer gestures of kindness and support. Eventually, Summer took the decisive step of filing for divorce, gathering her children and seeking refuge at her parents' home. There, she secured a job as a bank cleaner, a humble position, yet a significant milestone considering her lack of formal education and professional experience beyond nurturing her children in the confines of the Inman household. While she didn't harbor expectations of landing a lucrative job, the newfound sense of independence brought a quiet satisfaction. For the first time in years, she relished in the absence of constant scrutiny and control. Despite her lingering bitterness toward Will, Summer was surprisingly tolerant of her father's involvement in the children's lives. In her view, the children benefited from their grandfather's presence as much as they did from their father's. Despite Bill Inman's domineering demeanor, he displayed genuine affection and care towards the children, a reality that couldn't be dismissed lightly. As Summer settled into her new routine, she found herself gradually letting go of the resentment and pain that had consumed her for so long. Instead, she focused on building a brighter future for herself and her children, one filled with hope and possibility. Though the road ahead was uncertain, she faced it with determination and resilience, knowing that she had the strength and support of her family to guide her through the challenges that lay ahead. In December 2010, the Inman household faced a distressing turn of events when a bailiff arrived to enforce their eviction due to unpaid rent. Summer, upon learning of the situation, summoned the courage to return to the house she once called home, despite the unsettling feeling of being labeled a traitor. In her hour of need, she reached out to Adam for assistance in hastily gathering her remaining belongings. However, upon their arrival, they were met with vehement opposition from the Inman family. The mere presence of Summer's new partner, Adam, further fueled their hostility, resulting in a barrage of curses and threats. The situation escalated to the point where even law enforcement intervention proved futile. Will's aggressive outburst towards a police officer only exacerbated the chaos. Shocked by the tumultuous scene unfolding before him, Adam's own emotions reached a boiling point, prompting him to issue a chilling declaration of retribution against Will. Amidst the chaos, Summer resolved to take legal action against her husband. In her report, she detailed the gradual transformation of Will from a loving partner to a controlling tyrant who dictated every aspect of her life, from communication to personal habits. She disclosed his disturbing intentions of seeking additional spouses and his brazen activities on dating platforms, where he shamelessly pursued other women. In her private reflections, Summer lamented her desire for divorce but admitted to a paralyzing fear fueled by Will's ominous threats of violence. Should she ever dare to leave him? The police gathered a statement from a deeply anxious Summer, who had carried the weight of her fears for numerous years. Returning to the Inman residence under questioning, she recounted how her husband, in an attempt to control her incessant communication with another man, confiscated her phone. He also monitored her dietary habits, purportedly out of concern for her well-being. However, these explanations failed to convince the authorities, who deemed them lacking in credibility. Although their suspicions were not substantiated, tragedy struck Summer's life thereafter. The weight of suspicion hung heavy over Peters, casting a shadow of doubt over his every action. Meanwhile, Summer grappled with the aftermath of the ordeal, her anxiety reaching new heights as she struggled to rebuild her life amidst the wreckage of broken trust and shattered illusions. Consequently, they barred him from any contact with his ex-wife and imposed a fine along with probation for his conduct. The Inman family couldn't overlook what they perceived as an affront to their son's well-being. In their response, they highlighted Adam Peters' unsettling preoccupation with Summer's children during his tenure at their home. They cautioned against any further interaction between Peters and children, fearing potential dire consequences. Close to midnight on March 22, 2011, Summer was wrapping up her tasks at the bank located in the heart of Logan. With the branch already closed for the night, she focused on tidying her workspace, dusting, and disposing of the accumulated trash. She quickly texted Adam, informing him of her imminent departure and reassured him of her return home shortly. The clock struck midnight, and Summer's tardiness, an unusual occurrence, sparked concern in Adam. He grew increasingly anxious about her whereabouts, fearing the unknown. Adam resolved to find Summer himself. Approaching the ward, he noticed the doors securely locked, with no lights emanating from the windows, indicating Summer's absence. Undeterred, he scoured the perimeter of the building, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. His search led him to the dumpsters, where he stumbled upon Summer's belongings strewn about, a disconcerting sight. Among them lay her purse, cell phone, and her unmistakable red jacket, discarded on the grass nearby. With no time to spare, Adam promptly contacted the authorities, alerting them to the concerning discovery. Responding swiftly, the police arrived on the scene, conducting a thorough examination of the belongings. Subsequently, they canvassed the bank, questioning the security guards who affirmed Summer's departure over an hour prior, with no subsequent sightings. Faced with the court's mandate to pay $150 per child, a total exceeding his modest monthly earnings of $500, Will sought a reduction, proposing a consolidated payment of $150 for all 3 children. Additionally, he had petitioned for full custody, only to have his pleas rebuffed by the court. Given Summer's seclusion from the outside world, her abrupt disappearance cast suspicion squarely upon the Inman family. As mentioned earlier, Logan epitomized the quintessential small town, where word of Summer's abduction at the hands of 3 unidentified assailants spread like wildfire overnight. By daybreak, the community's proactive members had banded together, forming search parties determined to comb every nook and cranny in their quest to locate the missing woman. From parks to vacant lots to abandoned warehouses, their exhaustive efforts yielded no trace of Summer, intensifying the sense of dread that gripped the town. A mere week prior to her disappearance, Will Inman, Summer's ex-husband, had attempted to contest his child support obligations. In addition to their deep-seated animosity towards Adam, old grievances resurfaced within the Inman family, prompting them to shift blame onto him for the unfolding crisis. While the veracity of their car breakdown excuse remained unverifiable, a pivotal moment arose during police interrogation when law enforcement noticed a white Ford parked in their yard, mirroring the description provided by eyewitnesses of the kidnapping. At one point, there was a breakthrough when they found a GPS tracker on the vehicle. Authorities discovered them holed up in Will's mother's residence in a neighboring town. Asserting their innocence, all 3 vehemently denied any knowledge of Summer's vanishing act. They claimed to have been in Cleveland on the day of the abduction, embarking on a journey to find a new home. However, their plans were thwarted when their vehicle succumbed to mechanical issues en route. Fearing the perils of being stranded on a desolate highway after nightfall, as the investigation progressed, a crucial piece of evidence emerged indicating the Inman's involvement in suspicious activity. Witnesses reported spotting the white Ford at a local car wash at 7:30 a.m. on the morning of Summer's disappearance, where all 3 family members, Bill, Sandra, and Will, were observed meticulously cleaning the vehicle's interior. Armed with this damning information, law enforcement swiftly apprehended the entire family, ushering them in for intensive questioning as the search for answers intensified. Through her tearful testimony, she laid bare the chilling sequence of events that led to Summer's untimely demise. According to Sandra, the ill-fated night of March 22nd saw them lurking near the bank where Summer toiled away. Their intentions, she insisted, were never murderous. Rather, they sought only to confront Summer in a bid to reconnect with their estranged grandchildren. In a heart-wrenching admission, Sandra disclosed the grim secret of Summer's final resting place, an old well near the Tabernacle of Faith Church, a poignant reminder of the intertwined destinies that had once united their families in happier times. As forensic examination confirmed Sandra's harrowing account, the stark truth of Summer's demise cast a pall over the community, shattering the veneer of tranquility within Logan and leaving behind a legacy of loss and sorrow. As Bill was escorted away by the police, his cries of innocence rang out, vehemently protesting their involvement in the unfolding tragedy. He fervently assured his elderly mother that they were blameless, attributing the calamity to the sinister machinations of the devil, against whom he claimed to wage a righteous battle alongside his parishioners. However, as the Inman family found themselves ensnared within the confines of the police station, their defiant proclamations wilted in the face of mounting evidence. In a surreal twist, the Inmans, seemingly under some bewitching spell, echoed identical denials of guilt until the harsh reality of their situation dawned upon them. As the specter of impending punishment loomed large, Sandra Inman, in a moment of startling candor, shouldered the burden of responsibility. While Sandra's actions may have been driven by a misguided attempt to shield her loved ones from the full extent of legal repercussions, her sacrifices ultimately proved futile. Despite her willingness to take the fall for her husband and son, the courts remained steadfast in holding all accountable for their roles in the tragedy. In hindsight, it becomes evident that Sandra's sacrificial gesture, while noble in intent, could not alter the course of justice. The culpability of each member of the Inman family, including Sandra herself, was thoroughly scrutinized and met with appropriate legal consequences, underscoring the irrevocable consequences of their actions. Steve was with you. Please subscribe Crime Crows.